attack. Now, Sri Lankan government knows they don't have to attack Muslims. They don't have to burn our madrasas. They don't have to burn our mosques. They don't have to burn Quran. They don't have to kill Muslims. By just burning janazas, they can continue to headmonger on the Muslim community. It is pure racism.
2020 has been marked by crises: the pandemic, armed conflicts, disasters, the fight against inequality. And it also saw many leaders turn up the rhetoric against Muslims in the fight against so-called radical Islamism, which only further stigmatized Muslim populations in their countries.
Now, they hide by saying, we are only tackling radical Islam. Yes, or could you please define? They keep it, as unclear as possible, so they could target any person.
This is a war waged by the government against Islam and Muslims. Maybe not a military war, but it's a political war against Muslims and their basic human rights.
Macron said Islam is in crisis and unveiled an anti-radicalisation plan to defend France's secular values.
De structurer l'islam. Mais nous devons nous permettre, accompagner cette émergence. D'abord, et c'est le premier point en la matière, en libérant l'islam en France des influences étrangères.
İslam düşmanlığı devlet başkanı seviyesinde teşvik ediliyor, destekleniyor. Fikir özgürlüğü bahanesi altında Müslümanların kutsallarına yönelik alçakça saldırılar düzenleniyor.
Tensions rose when Charlie Hebdo reprinted caricatures of Prophet Muhammad, sparking protests and calls for boycotts of French products around the Muslim world, while Macron firmly defended it as freedom of speech. Meanwhile, Austria's right-wing government came up with draconian measures after the Vienna attack, making political Islam a criminal offence.
Terrorismus, das ist die Tat selbst, aber dahinter steht die Ideologie des politischen Islam. Es braucht einen akkordierten Kampf gegen den politischen Islam, gegen die Basis, die Ideologie hinter dieser Aggression auf unsere Gesellschaft, auf unsere westliche Lebensweise.
Well, there is no political Islam. Islam is Islam, and Islam means peace. But some politicians, populist politicians, dare to actually define Islam or interpret Islam for their interests, and this is unacceptable.
The new paradigm of the Austrian People's Party under the leadership of Sebastian Kurz has really introduced a harsh and stark anti-Muslim politics, something Austria had never seen before since its existence from 1945 against any religious community.
In June, Belgium made a constitutional decision to ban headscarves for Muslim women in universities and public institutions. In August, far-right activists in Sweden held a Quran-burning rally, and a week later, anti-Muslim group Cyan tore pages of the Quran in Norway and spat at them. In Denmark, the integration minister proposed a bill to free Muslims from the old-fashioned norms of dowry, but his move was criticized as an excuse to further crack down on Muslims.
They're addressing with this bill imams and fathers, specifically parents of Muslim women, but they're saying it in the rhetoric that this is about liberating the Muslim woman. It's the quintessential Orientalist trope of the white man wanting to save the brown woman from the brown man. And they say it with a straight face.
Bu sene sadece Covid-19 virüsüyle değil, ondan daha hızlı yayılan İslam düşmanlığı virüsüyle de mücadele etmek zorunda kaldık.
Some societies blame COVID-19 pandemic on immigrants. Others use the public health emergency to target, intimidate, and alienate minorities, starting with Muslims.
Home Office figures released in October 2020 showed that the highest number of religious recorded hate crime offences committed in the UK were against Muslims.
For everyone's sake, we urge our European friends in particular, to get in front of anti-immigrant, anti-Muslim sentiment before history repeats itself.
In the US, a 2020 ISPU study showed 60% of surveyed Muslim Americans experienced religious discrimination, and 40% faced discrimination in institutionalized settings, such as airports, healthcare facilities, and job interviews. Anti-Muslim sentiments were further fanned during the election cycle, and analysts predict it will be business as usual for American Islamophobia in terms of war-making, policing, and immigration policy with the change of government.
I don't think that we could assume that Biden is going to end Islamophobia. If we take a look at the foreign policy for Biden, I would say that it will maintain an interventionist in a much more active support for military-industrial complex and engagement in the Arab and Muslim world, which in the background of it also the constant recalling of Islamophobic discourses of why we need to intervene in the Muslim world.
On the other side of the world, persecution of Uyghur Muslims continued in China in 2020. China expanded detention centers in the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, where Muslim Uyghurs are stuck and forced to work in dedicated factory buildings, according to a new report. Like China, India has sought to suppress its Muslim population's rights, freedoms, and ability to dissent, especially in Kashmir, the only Muslim-majority region. Before COVID-19, it was the Modi government's Citizenship Amendment Act that critics said discriminated against Muslim refugees in the granting of Indian citizenship.
तिरंगा हमारे देश का ये लगा रहे हैं, अपनी पहचान बना रहे हैं। हम हिंदुस्तान के नागरिक हैं, हिंदुस्तान में रहते हैं। तो मोदी बताओ हमसे कागज मांग रहा है, यहीं के इस देश के हम, इसी देश की मिट्टी के, यहीं मरेंगे, यहीं जिएंगे।
And recently, it is the love jihad law that has come under the spotlight. It aims to prevent marriages involving religious conversions and plays on the fears of Muslim men eroding demographics by seducing Hindu girls and persuading them to convert to Islam for marriage.